Hi, YouTube. Oh my gosh, I just realized all my laundry was sitting there behind. So I had to get that out of the way. But I'm answering some questions today on my new Hindi grammar course. So I am going to go ahead and start on Instagram and I'll have them both going at the same time. Real life with Jessica. चलिए नमस्ते सबको नमस्ते जेसिका हूँ और आज मैं थोड़ा सा लाइव पे आई हूँ ऐसे बताने के लिए कि अम, अपने नया हिंदी कोर्स के बारे में मेरा नया नया कोर्स स्टार्ट हो गया अभी रिलीज हो गया सो इसके बारे में थोड़ा सा मतलब सवाल जवाब करेंगे एंड आई जस्ट वांट टू से अ कपल थिंग्स एज आई एम स्टार्टिंग अभी तो लोग ज्वाइन कर रहे हैं बट I'll only answer questions about Hindi, and I'll really only answer questions on Instagram that are in the question uh, segment. So you have to actually press, उस पे press करो कि question. अगर ऐसे comment आएगा तो मुझे दिखता नहीं, ज़्यादातर दिखता नहीं comment और YouTube पे आप ऐसे chat में डालिए. लेकिन जो क्वेश्चन है वो एक्चुअली मैं देखूंगी भी नहीं अगर ऐसे कमेंट में है तो नहीं आएगा सो एनी हाउ सो मैं तो ओनली क्वेश्चन वाले बॉक्स में आप कमेंट वाले बॉक्स में मत डालिए क्वेश्चन वाले बॉक्स में डालिए इंस्टाग्राम में यूट्यूब में बस एक ही बॉक्स है okay so let's begin so we are going to do some question and answer on about Hindi and about the Hindi course अगर कुछ पर्सनल बात करना है तो वो मैं नहीं बताऊंगी इस वाले चैट में वो इसके बारे में नहीं है आज बट जो हिंदी के बारे में हिंदी सीखने के बारे में वो बता सकती हूँ so first of all I want to start as we are going to talk a little bit about my Hindi course the new Hindi course which has come out this is a full grammar course which takes you through 30 different modules and this goes I have my co-teacher Abhishek Benedict who is a Hindi teacher and he is going to also he joins me on talking through some of the grammar now we talk through how to ask a question in what's called in grammar first person second person and third person so that would be like first person is me saying मैं you know बेड पे लेटी हुई हूँ या मैं सोई हुई हूँ या ऐसे मैं पढ़ रही हूँ that's in first person second person is आप पढ़ रहे हैं आप तुम दौड़ रहे हो that's second person third person is talking about ये वो like वो दौड़ रहा है वो सोया हुआ है so these are the three different ways that we talk and we talk through all how to learn in like present tense also future tense and commands so that's like an immense amount of beginners Hindi in one kind of concentrated segment so that's really what the course is about and I think a lot of people are just curious like what actually the course includes. So what it includes is it has 5 verbs which you really have to know. Like you will use this every conversation, every like time you talk to someone, you're going to use one of these 5 verbs, if not more than them. And then we also talk about the difference between aap versus tum versus tu, the 3 different forms of how to speak with someone in Hindi. And then the other major section is how to ask questions. So that is a very big segment of the course is how to ask questions. So wo sab baatein hain, and that's really kind of the point of the course is to help people to get from beginner to intermediate Hindi. And so I'm going to just kind of look at some of the questions now about it. Yeah, okay, good. So again, I'm really only answering questions about Hindi and about the course that I've just created. So other personal questions, you can comment later on this. That's fine. So the first question is, did you know any Hindi before you moved to India? Should we totally immerse ourselves in the language, or just 10 to 15 minutes of learning every day sufficient? I would say the first question is, I did not know any Hindi before moving to India in 2006. And I literally didn't know like namaste. I literally didn't know anything. And through immersion, and that is really obviously the best way. I keep preaching that immersion is the best way to learn any language, especially Indian language. So immersion is the best. And that's how you're going to gain fluency, the quickest way possible. However, most people don't have that luxury to say, all right, I'm in my 20s or college student, I'm just going to immerse myself for like 2 years. Most people don't have that luxury. So what I would say is, if you can't do that, then second to best thing is to have a tutor, which you are speaking two ways with. Like, you're talking to them, they're talking back to you. That is the second best way to learn Hindi, to learn any language. The third best way is to do what you're saying, practicing on a daily basis. It just depends. I think what you're saying is like, is 10 to 15 minutes of learning every day sufficient? Depends what your goal is, depends what your level is. Like, for example, if you're already conversational or have a high level of proficiency, I mean, there's been times where, for me personally, and I've seen other people who go like 6 months without speaking any Hindi, where they're in a different country, or they don't necessarily talk to their family or whatever, and then you literally can just start and speak again like yesterday. That's when you're at a higher level. If you're in the beginner phase, 10 to 15 minutes is not going to cut it. You are going to forget everything. Everything that you dump in is just going to slosh right out. So I think that it really depends. And the 10 to 15 minutes shouldn't be on like an app. It should be you actually talking, writing, having more like of your senses involved in the learning process. So if you're just trying to like maintain what you have, that's fine. But I mean, really, I would say that you should be speaking as much as you can, and then also having time to like study. But as long as you're doing your best and just exposing yourself, I think, you can do what you can do. And, but it depends on, it's going to take you forever to get to fluency if you're not already fluent. कोई पूछ रहे हैं, मेरे बच्चे मात्रा में बहुत गलती करते हैं, कैसे सुधारे? Okay, so this is a great question. So actually, if your kid is already writing matras and all this, so actually मेरे कोर्स इसके लिए नहीं है. मेरे कोर्स लिखने वाली हिंदी के लिए नहीं है, बोलने वाली हिंदी के लिए, जो आपके बच्चे मोस्ट लाइकली बोल लेते हैं ऑलरेडी. तो ये जो है, ये कोर्स जो है, ये विदेशियों के लिए है, यानी कि NRIs के लिए भी है, जो हिंदी बोलते नहीं, जो हिंदी सीखना चाह रहे हैं, उन लोगों के लिए है. So that is really not my expertise to say मात्रा कैसे ठीक करें, क्योंकि मैं लिखने वाली हिंदी नहीं सिखाती हूँ. मैं लिख लेती हूँ, पढ़ती हूँ हिंदी, लेकिन वो बात आप वो इस कॉन्वर्सेशन के लिए नहीं, वो दूसरे कॉन्वर्सेशन के लिए होगा. How long have I been learning for? So me personally, I started learning a long time ago. We're almost in 2024. It's going to be 18 years starting at the beginning of the year. So you cannot compare yourself as a beginner with somebody who has been learning for a long time. That is just going to make you frustrated, depressed, anxious, say, man, why do I suck? you suck because you're new. You just started. Not saying you suck, but like it's normal to suck in the beginning. You should suck in the beginning. In fact, so I think that's normal. But for me, I would say after about a year and a half is when I was really like speaking well. Again, that's because I was immersed. I would say if you're doing like consistent study, if you start from zero and if you're putting in 5 to 10 hours a week, I would say within a year or two, you should be able to have like some kind of a idea of understanding what's going on around you, and being able to speak some basics. My course is really specifically focused on people who want to speak right away. That's really the key, is like speaking and comprehension. And so that's what I focus on. I don't focus on writing. I don't focus on reading. I don't focus on any of those other things. So that's it. If you're asking Instagram, अगर आप सवाल पूछ रहे कमेंट सेक्शन में, तो मैं उसको देख नहीं रही हूँ. ओनली आप क्वेश्चन वाले जो क्वेश्चन मार्क है उसको दबा के उसमें लिखना है. If you want to ask a question, you're going to have to ask it in the question mark, because it's literally like I can't even see the comments that are coming. कमेंट तो आते रहते हैं, मैं देखती नहीं क्योंकि बहुत सारे आ रहे हैं और उसमें कुछ भी मतलब दिखाई भी नहीं दे रहा. ओनली क्वेश्चन वाले मार्क दबा के उसमें लिखना है, ठीक है. और someone just asked me a question here. My daughter wants to join your class. Okay, so let me tell you how to do that. So first of all, I want to explain that my classes are not live classes. These are pre-recorded videos where there's it's like taking almost like a college course where you go through the material and you learn the material. You can watch the material over and over again until you've mastered it, until you have completely understood it. Then you go and you download the other material in the course. Like you watch the video, you download the handout, and then you go to the homework, do the homework, practice it orally with others around you. So, or native Hindi speakers whom you are around. So that is really the purpose of the course. I don't do live classes with anyone because it's my courses are structured in a way where it's like, if for me to be live teaching versus it's the same exact material. So like I don't do a one-on-one class because I want you to do one-on-one classes with a native Hindi speaking tutor. And a part of my program, another thing that I do is I do Hindi consult. So if you want to do a class with me, like say, hey, where am I? I want to do an assessment and see like how you're doing in Hindi, I will do that. And that's called Hindi Learners Corner. It's on my website. All of my courses are listed on learnhindianywhere.com. So that's really it. That's all I want to talk about. And अगर ठीक है और भी question आया, cool, great, good Hindi questions. ठीक है. So if I began now, December 13th, would I be able to be conversational by the end of February? How much time do you have? Are you going to be dedicating 40 hours a week? I would say if you know nothing now, and if you're going to start now, then you could, if you dedicated a lot of time, if you have a tutor, if you have people to practice with, then I would say you can have a conversation. It depends on what level of conversation. Like if anyone is going to come to you and like ask a random question, you won't be ready for that. But if you are able to talk about specific topics, I would say you could be conversational in that narrow topic by February in 2 months. I think that's possible. So I think that's a possibility. And but I wouldn't say that, oh yeah, you're gonna like, scroll on and like an app for a couple hours a week and be conversational in 2 months. That's, I don't think, is realistic. If you have any follow-up question on that, feel free to let me know. Here's the other Hindi question. Okay, what is my number one tip for learning Hindi? Can anyone guess? I'm just going to wait for a second. Can anybody guess what's my number one tip? This is a thing I say all the time, all the time, all the time, all the time. Can anyone guess what is my number one tip for learning Hindi? I'm going to wait for a sec. Can anyone guess? What's my number one tip? What is the thing that I say all the time? That's a good, okay, someone said practice. Kind of. Practice with whom? With whom do I say practice? Learn the pronunciation. Ah, somebody's listening. Yes, that is not my number one, but that is my number two tip. My number one, okay, a couple of guesses have come in and it's really good. Someone says to accept it as your second language. Good. With your mother-in-law. That's good. Close, close. I would say the number one tip that I always give in learning Hindi is practice with native speakers. Who's a native speaker? Could be my mother-in-law. My mother-in-law is a native Hindi speaker. Not with yourself. Someone said with yourself. That will not help you. Native speaker. It has to be a two-way conversation. If you don't have a native speaker in your life, someone that speaks Hindi as their native language, then you should hire one. And I have recommendations of tutors who I recommend. It's like a free download in my bio. If you go to my bio right after this, you can look and see. It's in my link tree. Free downloads. It's the Hindi Ultimate Hindi Learner's Guide. I have recommendations of Hindi tutors in that list who I've highly recommended. And I have to say, if someone is a Hindi teacher, like for Indian children, this is not the same thing. So I every month I have people coming and saying, "Oh, I'm a Hindi teacher. Can I work with you?" And I'm like, "Have you done this training? Have you done this training? Have you done this training?" No. So it's really very different to teach an Indian child who has people speaking around them than it is to teach a foreigner or somebody that's never learned a language before. So anyway, that's my number one tip. What was my number one tip? Practice with a native speaker. If you don't have one, hire one. And if you don't know who to hire, then download my free download. and then there are listed some people who I really recommend. My number two tip of learning Hindi is to, somebody said it, work on pronunciation. So working on pronunciation is going to be a big one. One of the most important things that you can do. Why? working on Indians, this is how, in my experience of almost 20 years of learning Hindi, if you go and you start speaking like this, aap kaise hai, mera naam Jessica hai. Even if you have great like really good vocabulary, like मैं हिंदी अध्यापक हूँ, ठीक है, अध्यापक तो बहुत बड़ी शब्द है, but you said it completely wrong. People are going to say, अरे इसको थोड़ी सी हिंदी आती है. Even if you have like great vocabulary, अगर तुम्हारे pronunciation गलत है, तो लोग बोलेंगे कि इसको थोड़ी सी आती है हिंदी. If you have bad pronunciation, people are going to say, oh, she only knows like a little bit of Hindi. Even if you have good syntax, perfect vocabulary, and great grammar, if your pronunciation sucks, people are going to think that your Hindi sucks. So that is the major thing. Second thing that I say you have to work on is pronunciation. So that is really about it. And this always happens every time I'm just getting ready to close my thing. I have like 15 really good questions, but I am going to wrap it up now because it's been 20 minutes. So अगर कोई पूछना चाह रहे हैं इससे तो आप कमेंट कीजिएगा और मुझे डीएम कीजिएगा, and that's what we need to do. So go ahead, and if you want to discuss more about the course, you can look at my course stuff at learnhindianywhere.com. That is where all the information about all my courses is. And it's really cold in my house, so मैं बहुत मोटा जैकेट पहनी हूँ. So please go ahead and look at learnhindianywhere.com, and that's it. So chaliye, good night to everyone in India, and good morning to those of you who are joining from other hemispheres, other sides of the world. Take care. Chaliye, later. Bye, YouTube. Thanks for keeping it real. And thank you for not judging me for my press in the back. अभी उससे पहले थोड़ा प्रेस किया, अपना जैकेट प्रेस किया था, इसलिए रखा हुआ है.